Guys, coming back today, reading from The One Thing, and you have to hear this. This is super important. Today, we're talking about willpower, and we know that willpower is what it takes to be successful, right? You have to have massive amounts of willpower. We can agree on that. To complete the tasks, to get up, start the day, conquer the day, complete your goals, we need willpower. We draw from our willpower. And many of us believe that this willpower is something that we can call forth any time of the day. Whenever we're in the heat of it, when we need it, we can call upon it. And I'm sure you felt this before. I know I have. When I need to get stuff done, I'm like, all right, Elijah, let's do this. You can do it. Or willpower when it comes to resisting temptations. All right, Elijah, don't eat that food. All right, you're on your diet. Stick to your diet. Don't eat that food. Well, these choices, these decisions that we make throughout the day are actually draining our willpower. And what's so breakthrough about this, what I found in this book, is how it's labeling willpower. And it's saying, so many times we tie our success to our willpower without really understanding what it is and how much of it we have. It says that it's a renewable energy source, okay? So, it's a renewable energy source, willpower. It's limited, okay? Let's look at it like this. You start your day like a car. Well, we'll do a bar. And this is the willpower. Okay, you start your day with a full bar. Okay, we're ready to go, we're primed. Now, as the day goes on, these little choices, what do you have to do when you get up? So like, for me, if I get up and I have a routine that I stick to, okay, go to the gym, do this, do that, that all takes willpower to get up. It's in my habit, so it doesn't take as much. It's a habit that's built, but it still takes willpower. But say I decide to take on a new task, to learn a new skill, to read a book, break up the routine, do the dishes, do something else. All right, that's going to literally drain. This is going to be empty. All right, a little chunk is gone. Okay, dishes right here. Then midday comes around, I'm at work, break room, there's a bunch of cupcakes sitting out, cookies, okay? And I see them, and I say, no, it's okay, I don't need those. A little bit more off my daily. So, you get where I'm going with this. By the end of the day, when I'm over here, come home for dinner, and I still haven't done my one thing, the work that I need to complete for the day. Maybe it's going to the gym, right? Maybe it's doing some business thing, writing a paper for school, but I've put it off all the way here. My willpower, how much willpower, every decision that we make, guys, every single judgment call, action is draining from this. It's limited. You see, that's what we haven't been taught, is how limited the willpower is. So, when we're here, and we have our most important thing, where are we pulling from? Where are we gonna, am I just gonna say, okay, let's do this? No, because my tank is emptied, okay? I'm running low. So, what's the remedy? What's the antidote? Well, also, let's look at food. It tells us about, with this renewed, willpower has a limited battery life, okay? But it can be recharged with downtime. It can be renewed with proper nutrition, and proper nutrition helps sustain it. Anyways, it says food for thought. The brain makes up 1/50th of our body mass, but consumes a staggering 1/5 of all the calories we burn for energy. If your brain were a car in terms of gas mileage, it'd be a Hummer. Most of our conscious activity is happening in our prefrontal cortex, the part of our brain responsible for focus, handling short-term memory, solving problems, and moderating impulse control. It's at the heart of what makes us human and at the center for our executive control and willpower. But it says, here's an interesting fact. The last in, first out theory is very much at work inside our head. The most recent parts of our brain to develop are the first to suffer if there is a shortage of resources. It says older, more developed areas of the brain, such as those that regulate our breathing, our nervous system responses, get first helpings from our bloodstream and are virtually unaffected if we decide to skip a meal. So you've always heard the importance of wake up and eat breakfast and whatever BS when it comes to like preserving muscle, all that stuff. But like, what is it doing to our brain when we're skipping these meals? Because it's saying that our willpower is literally our glycogen, what our brain's burning for fuel. In my case, I'm using ketones because I don't eat carbs. But still, there's definitely glycogen pulling. Your body uses glycogen, ketones, and it makes up this bar, okay? And this bar is limited. And so how do we optimize that? Good food, good nutrition, by eating meals, okay? You don't want to skip meals, or if I wake up and I have just a terrible breakfast, how much more is my willpower going to be affected by that? So, food for thought. Now, it says that once this bar is used up, once this bar is used up, we revert back to our default setting. Okay? Once our tank's empty, we go to our default setting. Now, what is your default setting? And I don't really know what my default setting, but I think that it would be pretty average, okay? It would be pretty fucking lazy. It gave an example about judges throughout the day. A judge will hear 40, 50 cases, right? Early in the morning, he's hearing these cases. There's 65% chance in this community of judges that they did this study on that he would let people go. He would say not guilty. But as the time went on, he only got 2 breaks during the day. So this willpower, decision making, right? Draining him. Later on in the day, his default setting was to say no, okay? Guilty, guilty, guilty. He was done hearing it. He didn't want to hear any more cases. His body was tired. His willpower was drained. So when it comes to your own life, what things are draining you? And if you have this one thing, right? We've disciplined ourselves. We got the one thing. We're learning to form habits, to discipline ourselves to complete daily that one thing we need to do. Now, when should we do this, right? It says, let's go look at some big ideas. It says, don't spread your willpower too thin. On any given day, you have a limited supply of willpower. So decide what matters and reserve your willpower for it. So, when is your willpower the strongest? First thing in the morning, you've had your downtime. Maybe not first thing in the morning, maybe like after you eat a small breakfast, however you feel. For me, I will drink a cup of coffee with 2 tablespoons of coconut oil, get those medium chain triglycerides. I can literally feel like my body's using those for energy, right? When I ingest that quickly, my body's using those fats for energy. It helps me in the gym. It helps me make these videos. It helps me read more. It helps me just get up and start my day. So you might not want to take on things as soon as you wake up, stretch a little bit, meditate, take a cold shower, eat a good little breakfast, work out, whatever, but then prime yourself. That's what I'm getting at. Prime yourself where this is being built up, maximized, and I'm not doing a lot of things like cleaning my house, like taking the trash out, like doing things that aren't as important, because the whole time this is being drained. Very important. Monitor your fuel gauge. Full strength willpower requires a full tank. Never let what matters most be compromised simply because your brain was underfueled. Eat right and regularly. Number 3, time your tasks. Do what matters most first each day when your willpower is strongest. Maximum strength willpower means maximum success. This is like mind-blowing, guys. This is some new stuff. We're not taught how that this is limited to like label willpower as being limited. We can't just call upon it anytime. And if we can, well then I'm gonna be over here by the end of the day. Okay? I don't have this whole thing to use. So this understanding of how to use willpower to benefit us for maximum success. Very cool, very exciting. What taxes some of our willpower? Let's look at some of the things that tax our willpower. Implementing new behaviors, filtering distractions, resisting temptation, huge, resisting temptation, suppressing emotion, restraining aggression, suppressing impulses, taking tests, trying to impress others, coping with fear, doing something you don't enjoy, selecting long-term over short-term rewards. Now, just looking at this list, how do we optimize? We talked about the Eureka factor, optimizing creativity, like a place to be creative, high ceilings, non-threatening colors, being outdoors, letting your mind wander. But when it comes to willpower, how can we optimize an environment, a place? If we're resisting temptation constantly, if I have cookies in my cupboard constantly, I'm going to end up, guys, this shit is going to get drained so quick if your cupboards are full of junk food. Like, I've got friends that, you know, live with their at home, or they just buy a ton of food that they don't, like, it's not good for them, and it just sits there. For me, I keep eggs in my house. I keep kale, spinach, sauerkraut, butter, coconut oil, fish oil, a few supplements. I can't afford to let this thing get drained, because because I know, man, when I go over to my aunt's house and there's a feast, I have zero self-control. I am not disciplined. I'll be the first to admit that. I have an eating problem, because if that's in front of me, this shit gets wiped out quick. So, keeping the right foods, eliminating temptation, that is very difficult. Fuck, man, look at your life. What can you eliminate so that you don't have to put up with every day? I can't, don't do this. Don't be tempted by this. Abstain from this temptation so that I can have more of this. So, trying to impress others, huge, at work, anywhere, it's draining us. Coping with fear, what fears do we have that we need to take care of in our lives? All these things that are just draining our willpower. Restraining aggression, suppressing emotion, the same worries, the same angers day in, day out. So, we make doing what matters most a priority when our willpower is at the highest. We do our most important work, your one thing, early, before your willpower is drawn down, maxed out. So guys, awesome way to look at this. We want to maximize this and be careful with the decisions that we're making so that we're not draining this. Yeah, so drop me a comment. What ways are you noticing this? What's draining you in your life? I'm trying to think about my own. Food definitely being one, so don't keep the bad foods around. Don't keep the temptations around. That's probably the biggest one that drains us, is little temptations throughout the days. So I want to maximize this I hope you guys will do the same. This has been a really cool talk. Please subscribe. I will see you guys soon. Have a nice day.